much from the overall budget is being asked to make those cuts, and how much from the Ministry of Justice and from the Ministry of Education these cuts are being asked to come from. Madam Chair, through you, I want to ask the Honorable Minister, because I hear the talk, in the last 4 years, how many new vehicles did KPSN received? How many? I want to know. I want to know how many, Madam Chair Lady. Because we have to fight crime. And with fighting crime comes the material to fight crime. I want to know, in the last 4 years, how many new vehicles did KPSN receive? I've seen a head shaking. I would want to assume that means 0. But I want to get an answer from the Honorable Minister of Justice. And don't sugarcoat it. I want to know, Madam Chair, you, through you, Minister Lyndon, Constantine, whatever it is, Madam Chair, asked to take this job, asked to be the minister, so deal with what comes with it, the good, the bad, the everything else. Deal with it, because you asked for it. It's in your lap now. It have reached to a point now where I ain't going out tonight. And if I do, I'm coming home 6 and 7. But Madam Chair, you know who's staying out? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock. They all out every night, every hour, because they guarded. They could go anywhere now. Anywhere they want to go, they could go. Because they got a battalion following them. Madam Chair, who following our police officers when they got to come to work and do a night shift twice and do the hours 3 times and they ain't getting compensated for it? Who following them? The same officers, Madam Chair, who got to protect each and every one of us here, who following them? Who giving them anything? What is happening with them, Madam Chair? But here's the thing, someone who don't live here, don't pay light and water here, don't buy no food here, don't pay no taxes here, don't contribute to nothing here. The 40-something tax percent that we got to pay from our salaries, that don't happen from that person here. But they got protection. They got protection. Not one police officer in here got protection. They got to do their job, Madam Chair, because they took an oath, Madam Chair. So whether they like it or not, they got to do their job. Their protection, Madam Chair, is called money. That's their protection. The value, their worth. They need to be paid for it, Madam Chair. And it seems like the same with teachers, or the educational system, and we got to fix it. You want to fix that system, pay them their money. Pay them their just due their money. You're going to see the system get fixed, Madam Chair Lady.
Regarding the budget and regarding the vehicles for justice, what I realize is that the current administration have not a budget issue, but a revenue generation issue. Because if you can't find the funds or have ideas on how to generate money, then you wouldn't have money to execute. It is also this parliament that actually put a motion in place to halt certain revenue generation projects, so I can understand why there are certain budget cuts happening now. In addition to that, under CAPEX, right now, on the bank account of government, there is funding right now for justice vehicles. So why hasn't there been a tender out already? There is money right now on the bank accounts of government. So why didn't you put out the tender already, through you, Madam Chair? The former colleague mentioned and stressed on the fact about vehicles. So for me, it's also concerning that if that is such a concern, it obviously isn't a priority. It's a concern, but not a priority, because the money is on account since last year, November, and we don't see any tender out for the vehicles. In addition to that, Madam Chair, I saw a press release regarding the ankle bracelets that the minister put out. What determines, and it was discussing early release. What determines an early release, and what is the latest update on this policy? Is it being used, and how effective has it been so far? When we look at the increase in violence of 2024 versus the previous 3 years in your presentation, we saw about almost a 50% increase. What are the main reasons for the increase in this violence, and can you categorize them for me, please? When it comes to the ports of entry, what are we doing in terms of minimizing the illegal firearms entering the ports of entry? And are we collaborating with your partners on the French side?
HR, capacity, recruits, vehicles, marked, unmarked, and SWAT, operational materials, communication, portables, ICT, detention capacity and security, storage facility, confiscated goods, forensic doctor. Then we have upcoming, or in fact we are already in the hurricane season, upcoming elections and other events. I want to encompass many of the questions posed by my colleagues, Mr. Chairman, to the minister, and I put it all together in one simple statement. Unless we address the challenges and the risks as outlined in this presentation by the minister, we might as well all go home. Because no plan is possible to be executed unless we deal with these matters in front of us. We are asking the impossible of our justice enforcement. We are asking the impossible. And honestly, like I have stated to many of them personally, I tip my hat off to them, each and every one of them, because that Chief Carl John could sit in front of us here, and I wouldn't say with a smile on his face, but still that kind of reassuring look must take every ounce of reassurance that he has in his body. And Minister, I am here standing tonight, that's what it is, and I bite my tongue to say the things that I, as Member of Parliament, Chairperson of Parliament, a citizen of St. Martin, with a large family around me, I bite my tongue to say the things that I should be saying from this seat. And I bite my tongue because I know that if the things that I should be saying from this stance or seat, St. Martin will throw its hands up in the air. And I can't take responsibility for that. I know exactly why I am the target. But the reason for being a target, I'll not give in to.
I don't want to hear it next week, because as of today, anything happens to any member of parliament, the blood is on your hands, Minister. It is on your hands. We have been threatened, and this is nothing to smile and grin and laugh about. I am extremely frustrated about it. And I first spoke nice, cool, calm, and collective. But you are aware that this is happening, and I need a solution for it today. Not tomorrow, not next week. From the point I leave this building, once again, my life is at risk. Why? Because some politicians find it funny to call each other names and say that we're doing things illegally for clout. And now they are being taken care of, and they are protected, and we are targets.
Member of Parliament La Cruz, I get the...
Today, not next week, Mr. Chairman. This is unacceptable.
Cool, calm, and collective. I've been a police officer for 39 years. And for 39 years, no other family was more important than mine. Today, I'm the chief of police. I've received the same amount of threats as anyone within this, within Parliament. I have received the same amount. My family have received more. So if we're speaking about safety and taking it serious, no one should underestimate the supermen and the women out there with the limited means, how far we will go to keep you safe. And keep you safe. Next to keeping you safe, keeping the whole community safe. Yes, indeed, we listen. Yes, indeed, we hear. Yes, indeed, every one of those WhatsApp messages that came out, we have them. Every one of them, I can 100% assure everyone that they were traced. And every one of them, if they had to do with a direct threat to you, you would have known. We do that daily. And I'm seeing shaking of heads. But there is a system. There is a legal system, and the only way we can do it is by that legal system. I want to go even further. I want to propose, if I may, and it's not the usual, that the next session is organized with the members of Parliament where I can divulge details on what we're doing, have been doing, and will show you that we always had your safety and have your safety at our best interest, the best we can do that. And what we don't know, we don't know. But if it's about the messages, the whatever is said on social media, etc., do not underestimate with the limited resources how far we go in the technology as police. As it comes to collaborating and trends, gun violence, etc., we have unified with the whole Caribbean. The whole Caribbean. Not only speaking about Anguilla, French side, etc., with the whole Caribbean. We are busy with members of these other forces because, yes, we see what we are seeing on St. Martin, but it is a trend that most of these countries are linked to each other, and the crime is also linked to each other, and the way it's organized is linked to each other, and we follow that. And we cooperate with each other to make sure that all our communities are safe. So we are not only dealing with the criminal situation on St. Martin, our brothers and sisters in St. Kitts and Nevis, USVI, anyone can check. All of us have these same situations going on. A drastic spike in aggression within our communities, a drastic spike in gun violence in our communities within the Caribbean. And indeed, It's not just a justice problem. It is not just a justice problem. It is social matters, and it's sometimes decisions that we take to enhance the growth economically without carrying along safety and security. When someone thinks on giving a permit to open whichever location, 24 hours, think on doubling your capacity and safety and security. Economic growth cannot be loose from safety and security. Crime and our youth cannot be loose from safety and security. We have to invest in the right places. Investing in our youth and seriously investing in our youth will help guide us out of the problems. What we are seeing now is an effect of something. And we should all think long-term on how we're going to solve these problems. But again, I am cool, calm, and collective because I have taken as much measures as we can in the situation that we're in, before election, after election, to try to keep everyone, but in particular, all of us who every day are threatened, to keep all of us safe. And I'm saying that from a professional standpoint, but also personal. We will go to all limits, indeed, to stop the direction that has taken. Before the incident that everyone has spoken about, the police force at St. Martin has already came out and showing that some of those cases that we are speaking about, we dealt with them. And I heard a name mentioned of one of the victims that was solved within a week. Solved. But what we are hearing on how our youth is organizing in the direction that they want to commit crime, let's please invest in our youth. Not only in the guns and the cars and the prison cells for officers, let's invest in our youth from very early. I heard everyone said it, but I want to thank the super men and women who does this every day under the circumstances that they do it. I'm very appreciative of them, and believe me, they don't do it only for money. They really go as fast as they can. Thanks.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance.
Lance advocate or whoever you hire as an advocate didn't show up. All I'm asking for is clarification on who handled the case, so I too can do some due diligence, and so that it doesn't happen to this minister again, that a lawyer that is notified doesn't show up. That's all I ask for clarification. Everything isn't always politics and a war. I just want clarification so that we can know who to look out for future cases to safeguard our patrimony. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Duran.
That's all.
Minister, you can continue.
Yeah, just to clarify again, and I hope this will end all sort of clarification on this point. It is not, in this case, a case against Lance Martin. It is a case against the ministry. Exactly, it is a case against the Ministry of, actually, corrected. It's a case taken the Minister van Volks Vrommy, because, Vrommy, and as such, the Lance advocate, it's not a case that necessarily would be, the argument basically is, it's not your lawyer that doesn't show up, it is the person who's the client that doesn't show up. So it's also my responsibility to say, if you appoint a court-designated person to represent you, as I've done myself in the past, you have to ensure that happens. The court doesn't say your lawyer hasn't appeared, the court says that you didn't appear.
MP Duran.
Thank you for the indulgence, Madam Chair. And last point, I just want to emphasize. We, moving forward, because according to the setup of our Constitution, this is the legislative side, the executive side. We all supposed to be fighting for St. Martin's best interest. I just want clarification on which lawyer, then let me ask it different. Which lawyer was representing St. Martin on that case during the previous administration? Can you please clarify that so that we can make sure that this doesn't happen again? Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that's a pretty straightforward clarification.
Thank you, MP Duran. Minister?
Yeah, indeed, Madam Chair, through you, the verdict does not state which lawyer doesn't appear. It just states the client, that is the minister, didn't appear. So we will check it again, and we'll, of course, share it with the Honorable MP and, of course, Secretariat. A clarification that I would like to actually make on this floor, the statement made by the MP that it was my person that signed off on the extension of Mullet Bay. That is indeed not the case. That was actually signed off prior to me becoming minister on June 25th. It was done by the acting minister. I'd like to also stress that no additional parcels or rights were added to this. It was literally and solely the renewal of a parcel of land from the 1970s. And then those are the only clarifications, and the others remain. Let me just verify. I want to show everyone the respect to their questions. No, that was. Didn't I cover that already? The grid market, the road. Oh yes, sorry, apologies. I believe we did, through you, Madam Chair, talk about the agreement versus the roadmap. No, well, I can say it again. It's fine. The grid market, what was agreed, and I think it's very important, the roadmap was not signed off. What was signed off was an agreement to deliver a roadmap. That's very clear. I think in all my elucidations, I said to take on the roadmap. There is no completed roadmap because, like I said before, and I listed the 3 challenges that that grid market, TNO have all experienced is the roadmap, like the TNO report referencing St. Martin, is incomplete, and thus there is no roadmap. Clarifying again, what government signed is the agreement to pursue a roadmap. It has to be very clear because I see a lot of controversy around grid market, a lot of politicization of grid market, and I think one of the key things I want to leave on this discussion with is we don't have to politicize everything for the sake of wins. The reality is the fact that we couldn't get to the point of making this roadmap is because there was political interest. There was a lot of people who had different interests. And as such, we're reaching to the point where we're seeing it today, where self-interest and politics is continuing to play a damaging role in St. Martin. So again, clarifying, there is no roadmap. There is a signed agreement towards delivering a roadmap, which to date is not fulfilled. And with that, I come to the end of the clarifications.
Sorry,
Madam Chair.
Minister, I see MP Jacobs would like a clarification on her clarification.
Necessarily on a clarification I'd just like to make a request for the minister to seek within the Council of Ministers decisions for an approval of a roadmap and get back to me in writing, if possible, through you, Madam Chair. That's all I would like to request, not something that for the minister to deliver today. However, as soon as possible, to peruse the archives, the P drive, or whatever it might be, in terms of meetings held in the Council of Ministers and an advice regarding said roadmap. Whilst I can agree with the minister that just like the TNO report, that it isn't complete without certain information from GEBE, that a document was delivered as one of the deliverables, as one of the MP's acts, whatever you want to call it. Said deliverable was made to the Council of Ministers, and the intention, yes, was for them to sit together to finalize, but not that there is nothing. So I really am not politicizing this, and I take offense to that statement, Madam Chair. I am solely trying to ensure that we, as the Parliament of St. Martin, can have the same information that the government of St. Martin is privy to. And as I mentioned before, if it needs to be done, just like TNO report was sent to the Parliament, to the Camera, and the minister gave a response to it, and it was shared publicly. If that can be shared publicly based on our agreements, fine. But then as our Parliament, we should be able to see what was presented as a deliverable from those persons that were contracted to do so confidentially. So that's my request, to seek for it and have it shared with Parliament confidentially. Thank you very much, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP Jacobs, and I do think, Minister, that maybe the question was kind of lost. I think my question would have been, if there is a roadmap signed off, then is it a complete roadmap? And can you sign off on something that has not actually received all of the additional information? But I look forward to getting that confidentially, hopefully, from the minister. I see MP Duran request the floor. I just want to clarify, is it a clarification on clarification again, or is it a new question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's just, I want to be clear, that's when we mix meetings in the sense of questions are asked verbally and then given response in writing, because the minister, through you, just mentioned that he answered all the clarifications, which is not the case, because I touched on the point where it comes to 45 little developments equals a big development, and what is a little development, what constitutes a little development, that was not addressed. So am I to assume that's a big question? And the other question that I had was, how was the information provided to GB, if it was? Was it via email, WhatsApp, conversation, signal? I don't know. That is why I would like some clarity on how we do things, and I think that it has to have a consensus, whereas if something is asked verbally, it be answered verbally. Based on my recollection of the rules of order, I didn't see that change since 2018 to now. So if that is the case, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where we get lost, because now if the minister answers 3 things and I ask for 5 clarifications, I won't get it. So thank you for the opportunity, Madam Chair.
My presentation where I stated what GB deems or what actually is part of the concession agreement is when it's above 500 kVA, that is something that the GB requests and proposes, and they proposes in a meeting to be told that would have a direct impact on on their grid. So just clarifying that, how do you define what's small and what's big is clearly mentioned first of all, in the concession agreement as stated by myself in the presentation, Article 7, as well as confirmed by us in a meeting with GEBE.
Your social and health insurances. Your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
In addition to winning the crown, the attorney at law won a $25,000 cash prize, half an acre of land, most photogenic, and best evening gown. Her ensemble was designed and made by Sharon Barton. The newly crowned queen says she went into competition with an open mind and worked hard.
It's just so overwhelming. This morning I woke up and I was at peace, and I didn't know whether it was good or bad. It's just been a lot of hard work. There were a lot of struggles and I had to overcome them, and I just had to come into this with a positive mindset.
Markham will now represent the Turn Island State in the 61st edition of the JC's Caribbean Queen Show slated for July 31.
Super excited. I've always been saying that I have wanted to represent Antigua in any capacity that I can, and because pageantry is something that's so important to me, I love that I get to represent Antigua in this field. It's something that I can't even explain right now.
The first run-up spot went to Miss Antigua and Barbuda Port Authority Dominique Trotman, delegate number 6 in the competition.
And there are no words to describe how I feel right now. I believe that I just want to thank everyone who continues to believe in me.
Miss Liet 2020, Shania Samuel, captured the second runner-up position. Samuel had earlier captured the Best in Performing Talent segment for her original Calypso performance.
It's extraordinary, friendly, kind-hearted, love to vet. What you see is what you get. I'm feeling good. I am feeling very thankful that I got to experience this, and all my hard work has finally paid off.
Other awards of the night went to Miss Cool and Smooth Kevinia Joseph, who was adjudged Best in Swimwear, and Miss Congeniality. Miss Furniture Gallery Shandera Codrington, who copped Best in Interview and Best in Costume, and Miss Kennedy's Club Limited, Jamalia Stevens, who was given the People's Choice Award. The show also featured dynamic performances from Drastic, Asha Otto and the Itchy Feet Band, For Harmony and Venetia Samuel. This year's Queen of Carnival pageant was themed Be Extraordinary, Dream, Believe, Evolve. Theresa Goodwin, ABS News.